Hello guys, this is the Developer, and today we will be talking about text and how to format and edit text, and then we'll be talking a little bit about fonts and safe web fonts that you can use on your website. So this is the fifth part of our tutorial, CSS tutorial, and yeah, let's not waste any more time and let's jump right into it. So first we will be needing a sample text. So I'll be taking this LM here and I will copy paste it. Now we will have two, but now I'll take the ID out and it will probably be normal as it was. And I'll just add another ID. This one will be called LM for element 2 because we already have an LM element ID here. So let's start it right here. LM2, and we are ready to start. So the first thing I'll be doing to this is add a background color of white so you can see, so you can see better this text, like so. And I will also be adding a border of 2 pixels, solid red, so that you can see a few effects that I'll be showing you later. So here we have our sample text. Let's just add a few more texts that will also be needed for later, like so. Okay, now we are truly ready to start. So the first thing we already talked about this, but it also affects text. So if you change the color, for example, to this color, aqua, and you reload it, there you have it. You now change the color of your text for this element you selected. So that's it, but for now I'll let it stay as black. Okay. After that we have text decoration. So it is better to use the tags that we already talked about in HTML. So all those tags for italics, if each one have a specific meaning, it's better to use them. But if you find it better to do that text editing in your CSS style sheet, you can also do it here. So as I'll be showing you, you can put it with a underline, and now you'll see that our text will be underlined. You can also do another one that is overline, and this is for example, a style that you can't achieve with simple HTML. This one is good because you can only use this through CSS, and then you have this one line through that you can also achieve with simple HTML. So that will be it for text decoration. There are a few other values that you can add to your text decoration, but because they aren't supported by Internet Explorer nor Safari, I won't be talking about this because I try to talk only about tags that are supported by every single browser. So that will be it for our text decoration. After that, you have the text ident, and here you can just give it a length, like we talked about in the last video, a length for example, pixels, 15 pixels of indentation. Now you'll see that the underline will be out, and this text will have a small indentation right before our starting paragraph. So here you can also add a percentage. So if you want, is to start a quarter of this space in our section, our paragraph, you can add 25%. So after that, you can also use the text transform, and here you can find all these values. For example, capitalize, and you'll see that all the text will now be capitalized. All the single words will be capitalized. So you can also use the uppercase, and it will be all written in uppercase, and of course the lowercase. This is nice to use, for example, when you are copy-pasting a sample of text from a website and you don't want to rewrite it all. So you can just come here and use this text transform tag to property to change it instead of writing it all down. So, okay, we are back to the normal, and now let's talk about spacing. In this case, letter spacing. Letter spacing has the normal value, and that is the default value, so you won't be seeing any difference. And then you can also have length. For example, for each letter, you will have 15 pixels of space between them, like so. This is nice to use to reach some desired effects. I don't really use this that much because I never needed to, but it is also nice to know. After this letter spacing, we will have our line height, and here in the line height you have also the normal. So you have the default value, and that is normal, so you won't be seeing any difference here. But after that, you can also choose the value of a length. So for example, we will choose 15 pixels, and this will be our line for our height for each of these three lines. So now if I reload it, there we have it, 15 pixels only. But here, if we choose, for example, 50 pixels, you'll see that it will be quite bigger. And then you can also, as said previously, choose a percentage. That will be quite small because our section isn't very large in height. Here, if you give it a single number, for example 2, you will see that now the line of the height of each line will be the same normal height of a single line, but multiplied by this number. So you can see here that our first line will have a line height of the normal paragraph, the normal height this line has, but multiplied by 2, and the same to the next one, and the same to the next one. Here, if you give it 5, you will see now that each line will have the normal line height, but now of 5 lines altogether, like so. So now we are ready to another property. Let me just reload it. Okay, and now you'll see the direction. This direction seems to be like the one we learned in HTML, but in fact it is not, because it doesn't change the letters, the direction of the sentences you wrote letter by letter, but instead it just shifts all the text from one side to the other, because instead of being the text being written from left to right, it will now be written from right to left. So now you can see that the text is starting here, and only here it has a line break, and the same goes to the next lines. Okay, so let's reload it, and finally, again for spacing, we have the word spacing. And well, as you can imagine, this word spacing will be substituting a white space. But for example, instead of a normal white space, we'll now have a white space, but with a width of 20 pixels. So you'll see that our words are now with 20 pixels separating them from one another. So after word spacing, we will be learning the vertical align property, and for that we will need first to select here some word, and that can be this first text. So we will be selecting this text here, and we will be editing this text. So now if I reload it, you see that nothing changed. The only thing that changed is that now we have text between these span tags. So here we can add an ID and select, for example, word1 for this ID. And let's delete the spacing, and let's select here our word1 element. Now if we reload it, we'll see that we'll be selecting this text. So let's choose our vertical align property and start with baseline. And you will see that nothing changed because it is within the baseline of the text. But now, for example, if you use sub, it will be subscripted, like with the tag sub in HTML that we learned in the HTML tutorial before this one. And if you use super, you'll see that it will be superscripted then above the text. So here you have a few other values that you can give to this property, but well, one of them is, for example, text top. But here, because we have normal text, this text is already of the same height as our rest of the text. So here, only if you have a small image, for example, or a smaller item, only then you will be able to see that with this text top or text bottom or top or bottom, you'll see that this smaller icon or smaller image will be on top or on the bottom of this text. But because I don't found an image that was this small, I won't be showing you this, but I will leave a link in the description from W3 Schools, where you can see it better and truly see what the text top and text bottom and so on do for a smaller image within this text. So now let's keep on going, and we now have the white space. And this white, let me just reload this. Okay, so this white space will be, it doesn't really messes with the white spaces. It simply renders the text in a different form. So for example, if the normal value, the default value is normal, so you'll see that nothing changes here. But now if you use, for example, now wrap, you'll see that our text will be continuous and never stopping, like it is in our CSS, so always continuous. And now if you come here and choose the pre-value, you will see that it will also be here. But now with this value, if I come here and, for example, give an enter after the first line, you will see that here it will also be given a line break here. So what this does is reach the same effect as you reach with the tag pre that we learned also in the HTML5 tutorial. So if you don't know that tag, feel free to check out my last tutorial. So now I will be talking about fonts, as I said in the beginning of the video. And for that, I already opened here 2 new tabs. So first we have here the site of W3 Schools with the difference between serif and sans serif fonts. So the sans serif will be a normal letter only with straight lines, and the serif will be not only the straight lines, but also these curvy points here in the endings of this line. So that is the only difference. You don't need to learn this red serif. You only need to learn this sans serif and serif, and that is the only difference. But what does this difference does? Well, it is proven that serif fonts, because they have these curvy ends right in the end of each line, it normally improves reading, and the users that are reading a text with the serif font normally read faster. Well, I don't really know why, but that is what it is. So feel free to use it when you feel like there is a lot of text for a user to read, for example. So, well, that's it for the serif and sans serif. And now I will show you how to add a different font to your text using the Google Fonts. So, for example, here you can see a lot of fonts. These are all safe to use. And you can, for example, see this one here, Man Salva. And what I do is I select this font, and now if I open it, I will see the Man Salva font, and I'll see here this link. And this is a way to import our font, this font, to our HTML website. So let's come here, right after our link, linking this file to our CSS style sheet. I will paste this link for the Google Fonts for this specific font. And here I will also see this CSS code, and I will also copy. And now let's come back to our HTML page, and here in our paragraph I will now be changing the font of our text. Oh, I'm sorry, I selected the old LM element. So let's now here. Okay, now we have our element that we've been editing with this new font directly downloaded, not but linked through the Google Fonts website. Let's delete this, and now here you have this Man Salva font. So after this, there are a few other things I want to show you, and that is, for example, the font size. And here in the font size, you can have length, for example, 50 pixels, and you'll see that it will be really huge text. And you can also have a percentage of, for example, 10%, and you'll see that it will be quite small. And oh, sorry, not pixels, but percent, and you'll see that it will be even smaller. And you can also have standard values, and that is, for example, with medium, and that will be the normal font size, the default font size. And then you can have XX small for extra small text. Oh, I'm sorry, I've written it wrongly. For really extra small text. And you can also have only with 1x, so extra small text. You can have only small text. Then we will jump to medium, that's the default. And then you can have large. You can have extra large. And you can have extra large text, like so. And that will be it for font size. So let's stay with medium here. Let's reload this. And now there is another one, and that is the font style. This is something that you can also reach with normal HTML, but if you feel not like using the tags we learned in the last tutorial, you can also do it with the font style property, and that will be, for example, to put a text in italics, or to put a text in oblique, and it will be also in italics. And you always have the default value, and that is for normal. Very well. After this font style, we have the font variant. I'm sorry, and in the font variant, you can have it normal, as right as it is, so the default value, and then you can have small caps, and that will put all the text in capitalized letters, but they will be of the same size as the not capitalized letters, like so. Finally, you have font weight, but let's just reload this, and now you have font weight. And well, you can yet again achieve this effect with normal HTML, but if you are not feeling like it, you can reach that effect with the font height, and that will put your text in bold, for example, or you can put it even bolder with this value. So that will be it for this video. I hope that you understood everything well. So if this video helped you, please leave a like and subscribe. And yeah, that's it from me. I'll see you in the next video. Have a good one.